Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Chelsea. Welcome to episode 2 of
Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure, where we chronicle ourselves as 50-something parents of a 5-year-old moving from the USA to the UAE.
During this recording, we are 2.5 days away from stepping on the plane. Eek! Okay, how are you feeling, babe?
Well, I guess the word that first comes to mind is panic.
Yep, that tracks. Nick definitely jumps to panic faster than I do. Although I've had my moments, for sure. I was panicking a lot last night and this morning. I am better now. But yeah, panic. That's one of them.
Yeah, and I guess the first thing that comes to mind about panicking is about our house.
Yeah.
Because we are renting our house out while we're gone, and we are 2 days away, 2.5 days away, and we still do not have a renter yet.
Yep. And we thought, and we're kind of told by people around us in the neighborhood who've rented out their house, or just like a couple realtors around here, oh, that's not going to be a problem. You've priced it right. It's going to be great. Nope, not true. So we've learned some things. I think one of the big things we've learned is that don't list your property on July 3rd because everyone goes out of town in Seattle. Like everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people fled because they flee the fireworks, because they don't like the fireworks, because they have a dog, because it's a really big dog town. And they go camping. They take their dogs camping. They flee the fireworks. Anyway, a lot of people weren't there to see the house. That's one big one. Don't list it right before holiday weekend. Another one is, go ahead.
Yeah, well, wait till you're actually moved out of your house before showing it to people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We started showing our house when we were still living in it. And as a result, I think it was not in the perfect state for people who might be interested in the house. We were still in the process of moving stuff out. And so there was one spot where there were a whole bunch of boxes piled up because we had nowhere to put those at that time. And, you just try keeping your place tidy with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, and we had schedules to keep, and we couldn't just show it on a whim to anybody who was interested. We had to, really be specific around the schedule, which just made it harder. I think we wanted to just get it rented as soon as possible, and that just was a mistake. We could cover August. We should have waited to list it till we were moved out, because September is what we should have aimed for. So, lesson learned. Don't do that.
And one of the reasons why this is a big stressor is because, we need the income from our house. Chelsea, you have your job set up. But right now I don't have anything set up. And while we've kind of crunched the numbers and come to the conclusion that we can probably get by on what you're making, we won't be able to have the full experience if we are just relying on you.
Right, and we really can't afford to pay for my house or our house on my salary.
Yeah.
That we need a renter in there to help cover all the expenses associated with the house. We also financed some things on our house not knowing we were going to move. So those things are part of the rent.
Yeah.
We just didn't know. We didn't know we were going to move. They make really nice things to tell potential renters about, here are all the beautiful new windows, and we have solar panels. All wonderful things that help with energy efficiency and so forth, but, do add to the overall cost of the rental. So yeah, that is definitely the biggest stress point. We are kind of at the place where we just have to let it go and trust the process, and know that the people managing our property will make it happen.
And it's really it's going to work out. We do know that it is eventually going to work out.
Yeah.
It might not work out perfectly the way that we would hope or envision, but we
Right.
do know that it is going to work out.
Right.
I mean, we're leaving in 3 days, and we're still going out. Like tomorrow, we're showing the house to people.
Yeah. 2 different people are going to see it tomorrow.
In between these last little things that we're putting together, we're stopping by the house to go show it to somebody.
Stopping it by before and after our things. Yes, because it's important. We do need to get someone in there. We want somebody to love our house like we do. We think it's a wonderful location and a place to live, and It deserves somebody who loves it the way we love it. So yes, that's a big part of it, but also part of packing up and getting ready to go and moving out of your home is figuring out what to do with all the freaking stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about how you accumulate so much when you have your own house, and this was our first house, but for both of us, and we are definitely learning exactly what that means.
Gosh. Yeah, we have a small house, so compared to some people, like we don't have as much, and yet, especially with a kid, but even without the kid, we still just had so much stuff. And I've got more memento boxes than Nick does. I have more clothes than Nick does. But add the kid in, we've got the toy shelf, you've got this toy, that toy, this toy, that toy. You've got the little mini kitchen. You've got, there's so many things to figure out what to do with. And obviously we're not keeping all that because that's just silly. But we also were told that when moving to Dubai, you should bring toys because they're so expensive to buy there and not as easy to get secondhand as maybe other things. So we were like, okay, we gotta go through all this and figure out what to pack. But yeah, we sold and gave away so much.
Well, and then one of the things that you really showed your hustle on was when we had our moving sale.
Yeah.
That turned out to be very successful, actually.
It did. I thought it would be. It could have been even more successful, but everything is just a lesson learned. We made signs for a moving sale, or I made signs for a moving sale. I decided like a week before the moving sale, we have to have a moving sale. I cannot get rid of all of this through Facebook Marketplace and through the South Seattle Facebook networks. We have to do a moving sale. So I made a sign, we advertised online, put it in a couple different places, and made it from 9 to 2. That was a mistake. Most of our money came in after 2:00. So, because we also had one sign right at the end of the street, just that day only, that didn't have times on it. And it is that sign that brought in most of the people. It's that sign that brought people who actually wanted to buy bigger things.
Yeah, we got really lucky. There was one person in particular, strange coincidence, from a family that was just coming back to the States from their international
schools.
Yeah, working in international schools.
Both parents had done that, but the mom in particular was an administrator in international schools. They came back for their kids to do high school here, or the rest of high school here. And they had been renting out their house, and they moved back in, and we're like, we need furniture.
Yeah, the guy just kind of 2 hours after we were supposedly done, drove by and said out the window, "Hey, you got any furniture?" And it's like, yeah,
do we?
Go ahead, come on in, take a look. And they ended up taking most of our big things.
Yeah. We had a couple other people get things, and then we gave a couple away.
But I mean, yeah, they took our couch, they took our love seat, they took our TV and our TV stand
and our standing desk, which is really nice and relatively new.
And so they really helped us out by taking these large items.
Yeah.
I mean, they came by 2 days later with a U-Haul to take it all
the
away.
next day. Yeah, and they were so pleasant and also like really willing to be willing to be helpers as we go abroad, and if we have questions, and if we ever want to go to another country. Like, they've been in lots of countries, so it was really nice to meet them. They were great, and they really helped us out a lot. They kind of started the sale, I would say, of furniture. Before that, we were selling little things like kids' clothes and toys and books and stuff like that, but we weren't really selling that much big stuff. And they got some of the big stuff out, and then a few more people got some big stuff out.
Yeah. Well, and that they were also just part of these strange coincidences that came during this moving sale.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest one was the person who came by who actually attended the school you were going to be working at.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. She came by. She lived on the block on the other side of on the other side of our yard, basically. And we have a fenced-in backyard, and on the other side of that yard is another block. And one couple had come over, and they had told this other couple about it. So they came over, and then as we're talking to them, they're like, "Oh, I we're telling them we're going to Dubai, and she's like, oh, funny, I lived in Dubai. I actually went to high school there. I went to blah, blah, blah school. And I was like, well, that's where I'm going to be working. So, but they were there at the beginning of the school, obviously several years ago. It was really fun to have them in our home, though, with their kid, and have their kid take some of the kids, buy some of the stuff that our kid used. It was just one of those cool full circle moments.
So that's part of it was getting rid of stuff. Another part is choosing what we're bringing.
Oh my gosh.
And, how much do we bring? And part of it was you learned from your kind of networking exactly sort of what the best way of getting stuff to Dubai is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how people do things without Facebook groups, because Facebook groups at this time in my life are how I get all my information. I mean, Facebook groups is how I get all my like basic personal life information if I don't know what to do myself. I get to my parent page in South Seattle, and every once in a while I'll go to another group, but mostly it's that page. So it's the parent networks. So somebody who I know connected me to another person that went to my same college who was living in Dubai, recently moved. And they told me, get on the American Moms in Dubai Facebook page, and that's going to be a really helpful resource. Sure enough. So I asked about shipping things, and pretty much the consensus was don't ship. I mean, a few people think it's okay to ship, but a lot of people were like, don't ship. Bring a whole bunch of bags, 15 to 20 bags, and just pack the things that you can pack in those bags and carry them, or, check them on the plane. And that is a lot cheaper than shipping, and your stuff won't be sitting around for 3 months in a shipping container, getting hot, maybe damaged. Just do it this way. Well, and so that's what we were doing.
And one of the nice things that we've been told is that if they can't fit all the bags on the plane, that they'll just put it on the next one.
Right. Exactly.
And we have daily flights from Seattle to Dubai. So if they aren't able to get all the bags on the plane, we should be getting them soon after.
Yeah. So I'll be calling Emirates soon, because that is one of the things in my mind of 8 million things to do that hasn't been done yet. But I need to call them and add all those bags and pay for them. But some of that will be reimbursed by my school. Not all of it, but some of it will. How many bags do we have again, babe?
So we have 24 total bags that we are bringing. We are going to check 18 of those, and 6 of those are going to be carry-on. And, of course, we have to deal with the fact that we don't have a big apartment that we're going to be going to in Dubai, so we can't be bringing 18 suitcases.
Right.
So we had to get a bunch of duffel bags that will,
they're packable,
and we can store those easier than the suitcases.
Yeah, we have like 1 large suitcase, 2 and then 3 carry-ons basically, and then our kids' mini suitcase, 5-year-old size suitcase, and that's already kind of a lot of bags to be like storing in some place we don't have storage.
But because they're duffels, that comes with a totally different challenge, which is, okay, how do we pack these in a way that keeps things from breaking?
Right. Because we've got a little bit of, we're not packing a ton of fragile stuff, but we are packing some things, like some pictures and some pottery, because I love pottery a lot. Just like a few mugs. I was like, I just want to use our pottery mugs. I love them. It'll make it feel like home for me. But only 4. Just 4. We have like 10.
Which, if you don't know Chelsea, that is cutting it back big time. I mean, that is a big sacrifice.
I know. Every time I go on a trip, I'm like, ooh, I got a new mug. And Nick is like, oh my God, where are we going to put it? So far, it has worked.
Well, I mean, the mugs have worked.
Yeah.
We'll get into the water bottles later. But anyway, so, figuring out how to pack these bags was also a big challenge. I mean, that's kind of like, playing some puzzle game, it's doing Tetris, making things fit.
Yeah.
Do you have the right amount of clothing to serve as padding around this particular item? And then also they have to be 50 pounds or less. So there's been a lot of weighing bags and seeing, can we actually put more in there? Oh, that actually puts us over the top of 50. We better take a few things out. So
let's hope that scale is the same as the scale at the airline.
yeah.
Some of these are right
we
at 50.
We're very close on 49. We're
Yeah.
49 pounds on a few of those bags.
Yeah, shout out to Nick's parents for giving us their luggage scale.
So that was, and also, we have to bring some things that you wouldn't think that you were going to bring. And also part of your networking, learning things like spices. Yeah. Apparently that's something that you're supposed to bring because you can get spices in Dubai, but they're extremely expensive.
And sometimes not the same version of that spice as you would get here. So I have heard like, oh, this type of spice is actually really sweet and not what I expected or something else. So like there's reasons people bring that kind of thing. And then people have also said, bring your skincare stuff, bring extra because you can get most of this here, but it's so expensive. So I've spent like a lot of money trying to up my skincare stuff, just bring like more quantities of it, and then like endless sunscreen because Dubai is so sunny. And that's just something we want to be smart about. So yeah, there's a lot of my actually cleaning out my bathroom cupboards and drawers really was kind of alarming. I was like, I have so much stuff. And I use most of it now and then, and some of it all the time. I did throw a lot away, but I still was like, gosh, I still have a lot of stuff I just don't use every day, but it adds to this. Like, how do I have so much stuff? When did my skincare routine become so extensive? I could actually tell you that is probably around age 45. But it should have come it's an interesting thing to realize how much you have.
Another strange thing you don't think about having to get rid of when you're moving out of a house like this is your food. I mean, we had so much food that it's just like we have a chest freezer. It was pretty full.
Yeah, and part of that is that in the last couple of weeks, we should be using our food, and instead we're so exhausted. We're just like, let's go out. Let's go out. Let's get pizza. We became basically what we have coined Team Healthy Family.
Yeah, hashtag Team Healthy Family.
Yeah.
How much, bad fried takeout can we eat in a month span? Hopefully
it's not good, people.
The heat in Dubai will allow us to sort of detox a little bit because we won't be as hungry.
Usually we're making smoothies a couple times a week and drinking them, all of us, like 3 to 4 days in a week. And right now we're like, oh, do we have any baby carrots? Because I should probably have that after those fish and chips. To be clear, I did not have that. Instead, I had a milkshake.
Oh.
That was today.
Well, we might have time after recording this. So.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's just been a really interesting thing trying to organize ourselves. And I have, Nick knows this about me, I definitely get into shutdown mode when it's too overwhelming if I don't have somebody helping me. And I knew that about myself. So before Nick was done with work, I was recruiting people to come help me. But you can only recruit so much. And we're at an age where you can't ask people to do too much. Either they've got plenty of things going on in their own lives and or they have kids and their kids have things going on. There's just a lot that everybody's doing, and I can't ask for too much help at this age. But I did get help. And I'm super, super grateful for it. But once it was just me and Nick, I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And I do most of the stuff around the research, the planning, the reserving, and all of that stuff, which means that Nick ends up doing a lot of the kind of like hands-on physical stuff.
If I can steal a phrase from the Wu-Tang Clan, we form like Voltron and Chelsea's the head.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I think that's nice.
You're the head. I'm maybe an arm and a leg. But yeah, you're definitely doing the heavy lifting on the thinking part of a lot of this, and especially given that you were done with school in late June, so you could start kind of pivoting towards working towards the move around then. We had to kind of do some decision making around when I was going to stop working.
Yeah.
And we decided to have me end, with 2 weeks to go. My last day was on July 19th, which in retrospect, maybe we would have had me finish up a little earlier than that. So that we had to do some mathematics around this because, I don't have my job lined up in Dubai.
Yeah.
And so we really needed the income to as much as we could get out of my job before I quit.
Right.
And so it was like, what makes more sense? Do I work another week so that we have another week of my income going into our move, or do we give me a little more time to help out with all the logistics? And, we settled on that. And, maybe it would have been helpful if I was available a little earlier.
Oh, 100%. I was always on team, let's do this earlier. But I understood Nick's stress level around the money part, and so I didn't push too hard on it. And I think Nick is feeling a lot of stress about not having a job, and so that was his way of feeling like he could contribute financially. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely I've never not worked in my adult life.
You're right.
And so the idea of right now not having a job is foreign to me.
Yeah.
So
disconcerting.
Yeah, and we're Gen Xers. We're getting up there in age.
Yep.
And not only am I looking to get a job, I'm not expecting to be able to find a job in sports writing.
No.
So I think I'm going to be pivoting in my career. And so there's the stress around that too. I mean, I've been
it's daunting.
A sports writer my entire working life. And so finding something new, in my 50s is just something having to wrap my head around and hoping that I'm able to come up with the right thing or have enough success in figuring out what the next step is, and then having somebody actually hire me for that.
Right.
So
and yeah. Nick might suffer a little bit from imposter syndrome. He doesn't always want to toot his own horn, but he is very, 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 very smart and picks up things very, very quickly. But how do you explain that to people in a resume? That's like not really a way to explain that. And so it's kind of like this world of networking is hard when you're going somewhere where you don't actually know anybody.
Yeah. And also, one thing that made it a little easier, though, is that in my job, I got switched out of what I was doing a year ago. And we talked a little bit about this in the first episode. It's a little less weird for me because I've had that year buffer of not being a sports reporter and just doing editing. And so I think that made the process of kind of saying goodbye to my career in journalism a little bit easier. Yeah. Because I didn't have to say, goodbye to exactly what I made my career out of.
Yeah.
I was able to have that kind of take the stepping stone approach to my bidding farewell.
Yeah. Yeah. So on that note, that kind of leads us into some of maybe the emotions that have been drifting everywhere.
Well, I think a good place to start is that we had 2 pets.
Yes.
And neither of them are coming with us at this point, at least.
It's a past tense conversation, or it's a past tense situation. We had an African gray parrot, which some people are really fascinated about.
Yes, I brought Nietzsche into the relationship, and I had Nietzsche basically adopted from the egg. So he's 16 years old, been with me for all that time, and so he's not a pet that really is feasible to bring to the UAE. So we had to find him a new home. And
Nick found him. Nietzsche is Nick's pet, for sure. I am not a bird person, and I tried to be a bird person for Nietzsche because he's actually a really lovely bird. Like, if you are a bird person, you would love Nietzsche. But I could never quite bond with him. I think because if you're scared of birds, it's hard to do that. But our kid definitely bonded with him. T bonded with Nietzsche and felt attached to Nietzsche, and you bonded with him. He's very much a family member, and I even got used to his noise. Like, he's like all birds, he's loud. He's loud. I would forget about it until somebody would be in the house who wasn't used to it. It was like, oh my gosh. But you remember, or you get used to that noise, and so it's a big shift when that changes.
So yeah, that was hard. And, both T and I, we have dealt with the kind of a sadness of losing a family member there. The good news is that we were able to find him a really good situation. I was still in touch with the woman who I adopted him from in the first place. And she's really plugged in and was able to find a home, not only where he's, wanted, but also they have another bird. And so part of what makes this easier for me is knowing that he's got a bird friend, and that's something that I wasn't able to give him. He was the only bird in our household, and he was going to be the only bird. So saying goodbye was a little easier emotionally because of knowing that he was going into a situation that was going to be in some ways better for him than what I was able to provide him.
Yeah, you were super sad, and also you could kind of logic your way through that situation. It's been quiet and weird in the house not having him there. Like really, really quiet. It was very strange to get used to. I think one of the hardest things about this, however, though, was T's response. Like, we had told him this was going to happen eventually, but it happened much earlier than I expected. And Nick just found somebody, or Nick's person found a home, and suddenly Nietzsche was leaving in early June.
Yeah, it was like I found someone, bring him the next day, and I was not mentally or emotionally ready for that.
None of us were.
And I thought I would have, it would take a few weeks to make this process all happen, and it basically happened over a weekend.
Yeah.
And so it was it was nice to have something settled quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was an emotionally wrenching moment.
It was hard. It was wrenching for you, and then we told T that Nietzsche was going to be gone in a few days, and he was like, we were sitting at the kitchen table, and he looked at us, he said, "What? Nietzsche's going to be gone? Forever?" And then he just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed at the table, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is awful. In fact, Nietzsche was supposed to be gone on Friday, and you were like, I'm going to change it to Monday. We'll get the whole weekend. And that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So then he could say goodbye and spend lots of time feeding him treats, and it worked out really well. He is 5 and moved on pretty quickly. But that moment was so poignant, I would say. That moment of him just sobbing.
So that was a pet emotional point number 1.
Yeah.
And then there was point number 2. So we also have a cat named Alkai.
Yeah.
Who we had for
12 years.
11. She's 11.
And we've had her 11 and a half years then.
We got her at.
Oh, no.
We got her when she was half years.
Yeah, 10 and a half years. Yeah, so she was 6 months old when we got her. So she is a special cat. She's wonderful. She's really good with people. She didn't used to be good with kids, but since we have a kid, she has learned to be good with kids. She's not a biter. She doesn't use her claws. She doesn't scratch on furniture, but she does have this one quirk that is really challenging. And that is that she pees on rugs. It's an anxiety thing. We just don't have rugs in the house anymore. She's never peed on our entryway rug. So we just have the same entryway rug that we've had for 10 years. And that she's never peed on our bath mat downstairs for some reason. But every time we get a new bath mat in the other bathroom upstairs, she pees on it if we don't hang it up. It just automatically. We don't keep area rugs anymore because she ruined 3. And so, yeah, she pees in the house on rugs. And then we have learned to live with that. And she's more important to us than rugs. So that's fine. And then she also doesn't like other cats. She's never lived with them, but just even when they walk by on the street, she's snarling at them. She doesn't do that to dogs. When we originally adopted her, the shelter was hey, their rule was you've got to get 2 cats if you're getting a cat under 9 months old. And so we kept trying to bring other cats over to her that weren't already partnered up, and she would just hiss and snarl at every one of them. And so we were please, can we just take her? And they were like, fine. So we did. And she's been a wonderful pet, but these two quirks make it really hard, the peeing especially. No family members could do it because they have rugs or carpet. And so I spent like 2 months trying neighborhood pages, trying like family friends, just putting it out there, Instagram. And a couple people asked questions, but no real bites. And then, I just wanted her to be in a new home. I wanted her to be in a good, happy home. She's 11. She's really about a senior cat. And she didn't deserve to go to a shelter. That was not right. That felt so icky and wrong. We are now in a situation where we feel like eventually we'll be able to bring her. Maybe not this year. But so then I changed my tactic to foster family. And it took some time, but somebody stepped up and they agreed to foster her. Somebody I used to work with who's really an amazing person and was an amazing colleague. And she and her family, they all talked it over. They know the quirks. And then they agreed to do it. They are cat people. They've had cats. They don't have one right now, but they've had cats. They're a blended family. There's 2 kids who are older, not kind of crazy like our kid. Crazy to a cat, that is. And so they're calmer. Anyway, I'm getting regular photos. I'm getting updates. Like, this is a beautiful situation. We are so, so grateful. We spent a lot of time at the house when we brought her over, and T was with us. So he got to see her settle in, and they just didn't seem that worried about the peeing. I'm just like, they rolled up their area rugs and they were like, it's fine. We're going to deal. We are just, ever, ever grateful. And we're just so hopeful that we'll be able to take her with us eventually, to have her home. If she wants to go, it kind of feels like she might be like, why are you taking me from this calm space?
But for the, I don't know, 2 months or so where there was no certainty on what her future was, that was a real stressor on certainly you and me. Mm-hmm. And then of course there was emotions attached to having to say goodbye to her as well, especially with T.
Yep.
But at least with this one, we're able to say it's just goodbye for now.
Yep, that's right.
That our plan is that we're going to have her hopefully with us someday.
Yep.
And certainly be able to see her again.
Yeah. And actually, when we told T we probably will bring her eventually, like, the way he changed in his demeanor was so nice. I mean, he was so happy about that. So those are some of the things that have like brought out a lot of emotions for us. Another big, huge one is our kiddo is entering kindergarten, or as they call it in Dubai, KG2. He is leaving his preschool where he's been for 2.5 years. He never did a pre-K. We just chose not to do a pre-K. We chose kind of these free range preschools. He had 2 preschools this last year, a morning one and an afternoon one. But the morning one he's been at for 2.5 years. And today was his last day at this school. And he was so sad. He was so sad. I was not there for the pickup. You were there. But I would have liked to have been there because we originally thought it was going to be Wednesday. We changed it to Friday. I already had an appointment. Like, I couldn't change that. But he, throughout the evening, brought it up. Like, Mommy, I want to go back to preschool.
Yeah, he's shown the emotion around this more after the fact than in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, he really enjoys being at his preschool. He's a really social kid. He's a big physical, wants to play a lot, wants to run around a lot, and this preschool is an outdoor one. So he has done a whole lot of that, and he was able to do a lot of that today. And so he's very much in the moment with that. So I think a lot of the emotions for him come up after the fact, as opposed to in the moment. Yeah,
I think when he's left his kind of activity and his place to be extroverted and he's home, we get of course, the brunt of those emotions. And he's really been showing them lately. Yeah, this last month has been a doozy.
So we have told him basically right from when we knew this was happening, that it was going to happen. So we've been priming him for several months now that there's a big move coming, big changes, and it's a huge upheaval for every one of us, but especially for a young child like that. And while we timed this so that it happened during a time when he was going through a pretty big change anyway with moving into kindergarten, it doesn't change that this is a huge thing for him.
It is huge.
And, he's probably not an age where he can really understand exactly what that all means.
Right.
And so, of course, he's going to be feeling emotions and certain things about all the changes happening. He's been seeing it happen gradually over the course of the last few months, from, Nietzsche and Alki being gone, to seeing our house starting to empty out gradually, to moving into it with your mom for the last couple of weeks.
Thanks, Mom, for housing us for a couple weeks.
And he's having emotions around that and acting up some, which you would expect a 5-year-old to do.
Yeah, we're just also having a lot of emotions. So our parenting abilities right now have not been their highest. So poor kid. We've also been like, oh my God, stop. But he's really been struggling, and that makes perfect sense because of all the things Nick just said. So, when I can have my rational moments, and I'm like super patient because I'm like, I get it. You are having a lot of feelings, and that makes so much sense. We are also having a lot of feelings. So let's talk about those feelings. And sometimes he can, and sometimes he's like, no, I don't want to, just sort of depends. But we're here for all of it. If he wants to express them, or if he wants to, we're not going to let him just be physical with us, because that's often his way of lashing out. But if he needs to express in another way, hit a pillow or just go be with his stuffies, that is absolutely fine. And we do let and give space for that to happen. I think being at preschool has been his place of normalcy for the last month. And that being gone, I think he's understanding that. He's understanding that place of normalcy is no longer there.
And every once in a while he'll express this feeling and emotion of the change in a really sweet way.
Yeah.
There was a moment a couple of weeks ago where we had just had our moving sale. And so a lot of our house was different. He wasn't staying here at the time, but he came back to the house. We brought him back because for some reason or another. And he saw, over here in this one room was a big pile of toys of his that we were planning on selling that didn't sell. And he starts going up to his toys and very earnestly sort of picking one up and hugging it. And I go, T, what are you doing? And he tells me, I'm saying goodbye to the things that I love. And he did it in such an earnest manner. I mean, it was just tug at the heartstrings sort of stuff. But then I looked at what he was picking up. And it wasn't his toys. We had a stock of toys that we kept kind of up in a closet for giving as birthday presents to other kids.
Right. Like most of the birthday parties that T is invited to, they don't ask for gifts, or they say no gifts, or it's optional. So we don't have a ton, but we do go to some birthdays where gifts are a thing. And so I did the most amazing planning I've ever done and bought a stock of gifts. I am not that person. I'm not the parent that is like, I'm so prepared all the time. Not even close. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got gifts ahead of time. Wow. And then we moved and didn't use them all. But
so here's T picking up an unopened box of Play-Doh and giving it this just really warm hug. Or taking this sushi squishmallow and giving it this very, very warm hug to say goodbye to these toys that he never actually played with.
It's so funny. I'm going to miss you so much.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet, but also very funny. And it's definitely been one of my favorite moments of of
Yeah.
T showing his emotions
Yeah.
from this move that we're making.
Yeah. We've been trying really hard to see as many friends and family as possible. He turned 5 in June, and we just invited everyone we know that is, that has a kid or is family, and like from every part of our community. We have a lot of different areas of community. So we have pretty extensive families between, Nick's an only child, but he has a lot of like cousins. And I don't have a ton of cousins, but I'm not an only child. Anyway, and then there's just a lot of grandparents and a lot of other community aspects, like from T's world. So he has 2 preschools. We've just got friends from other areas, friends from the neighborhood. There's just a lot of different areas. And so he had a huge birthday. It was just at a playground. And he got so exhausted, and it was so fun, but it also was like our opportunity for people to say goodbye if they weren't going to see us later, and for T to get time with people, and he had such a blast. And that was kind of, I would say that was the first thing that we did that was like a goodbye. You know, it was a birthday party, but it was also a, hey, good luck if we don't see you. Lots of that at that gathering. But we've spent a lot of time over the last month trying to get time with people to say goodbye.
And, you know, that's been hard, not just for T, but for you and me as well.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, I guess a good way of putting it is we had our last time at my parents' condo yesterday. And while we're going to see them again, we're not going to spend any time at their place. And T has been at their place just about every Thursday for the last 2.5 years.
Actually, 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when he was in daycare, he was going there once a week. Yeah.
So he's got a chance to have a really good relationship with my parents. And, you know, I'm an only child, and T's an only child, and we're parents in our 50s. So my parents waited a long time to become grandparents.
And they are devoted.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's a lot of personal guilt within me about taking their grandchild away from them, at least for a while.
Yeah. And it's one of the reasons we didn't go for a lot of years.
And that last night yesterday was really, it was profoundly sad. I mean, it wasn't like everyone was being sad in the moment.
Oh, yes, it was exactly like that.
Well, I mean, there was some of that, but I mean, it's not like it was just, T was still himself.
Yeah.
And people were still interacting with him in the way that they would.
Yeah, but the side conversations were grief oriented. Like, maybe you weren't listening to it, but my mom and your mom were talking much of the night about the sadness of us going and how they're trying not to make us feel bad and all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a hard, your dad was welling up a lot while he was talking to me. All understandable, but it was palpable sadness in the room.
Yeah. And, you know, I would be lying if I didn't say I am having some grieving for our life. I mean, we have a pretty good thing going here. We have
a very good life.
And, you know, to be, leaving that behind, that's a hard thing in many ways. I mean, we're very excited and looking forward to this adventure that we have ahead of us. But, you know, it's not easy, you know, saying these goodbyes.
That's right.
And so now that's part of, I think, what both of us are feeling as we're about to head out here in 2.5 days.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I dropped T off at preschool, and I can't remember what I was going to do right after that, but because you were done with work at that point, I think. But I knew I had to go to the house and do stuff. And I was like, I'm not ready. I need to go drive around. I suddenly had this like moment of just deep sadness. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to leave this neighborhood. I love our neighborhood. The lake is everywhere. I love the look of the neighborhood. I love the people. I like the diversity of our neighborhood. And I just suddenly had this moment. I was like, I'm going to go up to Skyway and I'm going to go to Nevzat's Coffee, which is not our neighborhood, but Nevzat's espresso stand is like famous in a neighboring neighborhood and pretty close to T's preschool. So I was like, I'm going to go do that. I don't do that very often, like maybe once a year. And I was like, I'm going to go do that. Like it's a normal thing that I do. But I was like partly stalling from going back to thinking about moving and partly like wanting to visit this thing that's iconic in South Seattle. And gets a lot of like Facebook time and so forth. I was like, I just need to go do that. And then I drove this long way home and I was like, okay, I can do it now. But I just had this moment where I was like, I just need to be in my car, driving around, doing this thing and not doing the thing that's making me think about moving at this moment. Yeah. There's been a lot of up and down emotions. Mostly I am a person that is like, power through. This is exciting. We're going. Okay. I got all the stuff. We got to do the stuff. And I get overwhelmed by the physical part of it, but I'm usually able to kind of like keep control of my emotions, and they've definitely been all over the map lately.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at with being on the verge of getting on the plane. We're at that point where we're kind of going over the inevitability of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that once we arrive, things will be different.
Yeah. I do feel good like about trying to see as many people as we can. Mm-hmm. And we some of it has been initiated by others, some of it has been initiated by us, but like we're doing our best. And a lot of our family has been initiating things, your side and my side, my sister holds monthly family dinners, and also like, a family friend had a pool party. I've seen my stepsister and her family more frequently. It's been really nice to do those things. See your cousins, go to the 4th of July. Like we've been doing things, trying to connect with people. Nick connected with some high school friends. He had a college friend come to town. Like there have been some good opportunities to connect. I would say even more than normal in this last month. Is the effort has gone up. Trying to do all that and also managing moving out of our house, getting everything done has been tricky, but we have tried to prioritize people because nothing matters more than people. Nothing matters more than people.
Yes.
And we love our people. And T loves the people. And we've just really tried to make sure that has happened. I also just prioritized, on a totally side note, a bunch of appointments this week, like a sugar appointment and a hair appointment, and I had one other, a mani-pedi appointment. I was like, it all has to be done the week before I leave because I need it to last as long as possible once we get there. That also was a little stressful, and it left Nick in the lurch a little bit. I thought we would be done by now, so I was like, it'll be fine. And then, of course, we were not done by now. But those were my moments also of self-care. Like some of these people I've been seeing for a really long time, especially my sugar person. And when I am like lying there in a very awkward position, but I've been seeing her for like 15 years, I think it's fine. And I'm also catching up and chatting and feeling like, okay, this is nice. I'm so glad to be here. And just doing a few things to make me feel good about getting on the plane and meeting a whole lot of new people next week. Because we get there on the 5th, and I start meeting people. There's like orientation activities start that Saturday. So we get there on Tuesday night, and I start meeting people on Saturday. So, to me, it matters like how I feel about myself. And I know that if I feel like I look like how I want to look, and feel presentable and feeling good about myself, then that's easier for me, just feeling confident. So that's also something I prioritized this last week.
So that, I think kind of covers it as far as where we're at this moment as we're about to head out. Mm-hmm. All the things that we've had to do and are still doing, and how we're feeling about the move, on the verge of making that move. So I guess the next time you hear from us, we're going to be
in Dubai.
Yeah, on the next step of it.
Yeah. Woo!
And we'll be able to start chronicling the actual process and what we're experiencing in the process of this journey.
And how we're handling 120-degree heat.
With humidity.
Woo! Oh my gosh. All right, signing off till next time. Thanks for listening.